Jumping right into the updates from Gamescom for this month's recap, we did not get a new trailer as the developers felt it would just get drowned out in the flood of information and AAA releases announced. However, we did get an updated timeline and info drop with where MENACE is at in development and what to expect. First, the bad news. MENACE has been delayed and will not be releasing in Q3 2025 as originally planned. Although Overhype Studios is still shooting for this year for the early access release and will be sharing more regarding the new release date with the community update in September. But there is some good news too. It has also been confirmed that we will be getting a playable demo of MENACE in late September, so it won't be long before there's a hands-on actual game that we can play a bit of. I'll definitely be checking it out and keeping you updated on the community news as well as the demo, but let me know your thoughts on these developments in the comments, and let's get into the dev diary breakdowns. This entry is a deep dive into the vehicle weapon and modular systems in MENACE. Originally, the issue that the developers ran into was the variety of vehicle types. While it sounds simple enough to give each vehicle 2 weapon slots and be done, the different sizes of, say, a large tank and a light truck made it so that weapon sizes could not be one fits all, and the team just doesn't have the resources to create that many different 3D models and sizes. This led to the idea that each vehicle could be handcrafted and unable to change its loadout, but eventually, for the sake of army building and customization, it was decided that the entire vehicle system would be overhauled and turned into a modular, customizable form to give players more freedom. The new system is based completely around a vehicle chassis. Think of these as the basic frames that support all of the different vehicle weapons and options. Each chassis has characteristics like armor and hit points, but more importantly, a selection of different vehicle weapon slots, with 3 sizes of weapon slots available. Light vehicle weapons are the equivalent of infantry special weapons, for example, a light machine gun or flamethrower. Adding one of these light weapons does not affect vehicle performance or abilities in any way. Medium vehicle weapons are larger than almost all infantry operated weapons and typically come equipped with a designated turret mounted on the vehicle. Think of laser lances, heavy machine guns, or rocket launchers. Medium weapons also will not affect vehicle performance or abilities in any way. Then we have the heavy weapons, extraordinarily large and powerful. Equipping a heavy weapon may change the look of some vehicles and models and will remove any transport capacity that the vehicle may have had. Some examples of these are heavy mortars, tank cannons, and any twin-linked weapons like heavy machine guns or miniguns. The entry goes on to give some examples with screenshots using a pirate truck and light transport carrier, seen here without weapons. First, it shows the pirate truck and light carrier with a medium weapon, the autocannon. Then we see a light carrier with and without an autocannon and a light machine gun. The vehicle's looks change based on whether or not a medium weapon is installed. Next is the same light carrier, but with a singular heavy weapon, the tank cannon. And finally, a light carrier with a heavy mortar plus a flamethrower. As you can see, the appearance of the vehicles depends not only on the base chassis, but also the types of weapons that are equipped. These are just some that will be available, and more will be added over time during early access. Mechanical walkers are similar to vehicles with a variety of different weapon slots. However, the medium walker is currently the only chassis that can equip 2 medium weapons, whether they are different or 2 of the same kind. Some vehicles can do this too, but require a heavy weapon slot to be used because it turns them into a twin-linked version. This developer diary talks about a combat problem you're bound to face: how to kill a tank. As an example, they use the Rogue Army's assault gun, the heaviest tank that is currently in the game. While vehicles do use the same armor, hit points, and durability system as infantry, this particular tank's armor durability is more than double that of an infantry squad of 5 wearing class 3 armor. Small arms, fire, and guns are not going to do much of anything against it. It is important to point out that in MENACE, tanks have the heaviest armor on the front, slightly weaker armor on the sides, and the lowest armor rating on the back. For example, this Rogue Army assault tank has an armor durability of 180 in the front, 140 on the side, and only 100 on the rear, making positioning and where you attack it at very important. There are a lot of tools to take on heavily armored vehicles, but first and foremost, the player obviously has to have them available, bring them on the mission, and pay the associated supply costs. This need of preparation creates a bit of a balancing act. You generally want to have some dedicated anti-tank weaponry equipped, but since those things are not great against general infantry, you also don't want to sacrifice too much firepower. Let's look at some of our options. Number 1, the sledgehammer method. Some weapons are just extremely powerful and highly specialized in taking out armored targets. The Pirate's laser lance, for example, has an armor penetration rating of 180, strong enough to punch right through even the front of the tank. The lance also does decent damage, but is very expensive and not great against infantry since one attack can only take out one soldier on a squad. Number 2, the flank method. There's a large variety of infantry special weapons that are decent at taking out or disabling vehicles, for example, a simple RPG or rocket launcher. The RPG can even be fired twice in one turn if you manage your AP correctly. Maneuvering your infantry squad to the side, or better, the rear of a tank, gives them a great angle to do some serious damage. An RPG will almost certainly penetrate the weak back armor, and with the possible 2 shots per turn, may even disable the tank, causing it to get a defect. Vehicle defects were covered in a previous devlog and video if you're interested in that system. Another important thing to note is that tanks and vehicles in general require a lot of AP to turn and tend to have a minimal view range, meaning you can outmaneuver them with your infantry, hit their weak points, and avoid being attacked by their main guns. Number 3, the charge. If you're stuck dealing with a tank head on, or you're just feeling lucky that day, there are some grenades and devices that can be used over short distances to attack it. The most straightforward is the anti-tank grenade, which packs a punch, but some more creative ideas are incendiary grenades to set it on fire, or my personal favorite, thermite, which burns through armor and does a percentage of hit point damage. This all sounds great, but if the tank still has actions left and engages the infantry with its medium machine gun, that squad is likely going to be taken off the map, so charge in at your own risk. Number 4, the ambush. A bit of a safer version, the ambush requires you to set up remote detonated explosives or anti-tank mines in the path of an approaching vehicle. These will make short work of a tank, but getting them set up in the right spot can be tricky and requires a little bit of experience, experimentation, and luck. Number 5, the high-tech option. Some abilities and devices can momentarily disable a vehicle and give you extra time to outmaneuver and set up an attack. The classic example is an EMP rifle that disables any vehicle it hits for one turn. However, that is useless against any other target, so maybe consider bringing EMP grenades instead. There's also a support ability that can be installed on your cruiser, allowing you to hack and disable any vehicle on the battlefield for one turn. While that is a more expensive option, it can be used as a sort of panic button in the worst case scenario. Of course, vehicles and tanks do have their own countermeasures against these methods, things like explosive reactive armor, ceramic plating to absorb heat from lasers, or smoke launchers to help block line of sight. But the best method to keep your vehicles alive is just to keep infantry squads with them to help prevent any sort of flanking or ambushes. This entry takes a look at one of the features within the operations system, strategic assets. Operations were covered in a previous video and devlog, but just in case you don't know, operations are basically the mini campaigns you'll play through, in clusters of 3 to 5 missions. These missions will be in a branching path, and you'll get to choose your next one after completing the previous. Missions offer a variety of rewards, mostly new items, promotions, experience, and faction trust, but the developers felt that an actual outcome and reasoning for the missions was missing, as well as how they would affect the rest of the operation. This is where strategic assets come into play. In short, these assets are mission rewards that provide a resource, opportunity, or advantage to the player. These are unique to specific missions, and often there will be multiple different possibilities, forcing you to make choices between which outcome or asset you think you need more. Most strategic assets will only benefit the current operation and reset after you've completed it. However, there are some that will give permanent rewards as well. This is really just all about adding depth, consequences, and context to each mission. For example, a mission to free loyal local forces from a rogue army holding facility might result in those squads joining you. Another example would be an ambush on a pirate convoy, reducing your enemy's available supply points and forces for the rest of the operation. Let's take a look at some of these strategic assets. In a mission to stop alien critters from sweeping in and killing local civilians and farmers, you will gain 5 trust with the local faction. Securing this settlement will also land you a hunting lodge, a strategic asset giving 2 local hunter squads for the final mission in the operation. A common starting point for some operations is to secure and set up a landing zone and bridgehead to advance from. Completion could offer this strategic asset that rewards you with a 20% larger deployment area for the rest of the missions in that operation. Another type of mission, searching for and destroying pirate weapon caches, could gain you some cool piratey equipment for your troubles. Fringe settlements are often battlegrounds between local forces, usually to gain access to powerful facilities or capabilities. For example, this repair workshop that restores 20% of your vehicle's hit points and will remove 1 defect in between missions for the remainder of that operation. But don't get too excited, because the hostile factions have their own ways of acquiring assets as well. These will typically be attached to missions and activate if you choose not to do the mission that they are a part of. Enemy assets will be faction specific and generally show the enemy's actions to try and gain an advantage over you on the battlefield. Here's a couple of examples dealing with the space pirates. Since they love to tinker, break, and Frankenstein their equipment, letting them set up an improvised metal workshop in the field is ill-advised, as it will help them to improve the armor and durability of all their turrets and vehicles for the remainder of the operation. Pirates are also known to be a bit unorganized, undisciplined, and it's generally not difficult to break their morale. To counter this weakness, they may establish a propaganda center that boosts morale, resilience, and suppression recovery in the battlefield. You can see how these assets could add up over the course of a 5-mission operation and be decisive to the outcome. This system is designed to make players face complex decisions before they even step onto the battlefield. Will you stop the enemy assets to avoid giving them an edge, or deal with that and instead take a mission that rewards you with a valuable permanent item? Maybe the immediate benefits of a strategic asset are more in line with your current needs or playstyle. In combination with all of the other factors like weather, difficulty, and mission types, there's definitely going to be a lot to consider here. This dev diary shows the basic infantry armors in MENACE and explains how the system is set up. Keep in mind that this is just a baseline, and more armors will be added during development. The whole armor system for infantry in MENACE is designed to mimic how body armor is classified and works in real life. This means the progression is straightforward, from armor class 1 to armor class 6, with each class offering more protection but also a higher cost to deploy. For example, class 3 body armor will stop the first shot of an SMG from 5 tiles away, while class 4 will stop the first shot of an assault rifle at the same distance. On top of these 6 basic armor classes, MENACE will feature different variants for certain types of armors. These are basically side grades that specialize in specific things, like a version with extra accessory pouches or improved camouflage and lightweight materials. Armor tiers, on the other hand, are straight upgrades, usually modernized or enhanced versions of existing armor that offer more benefits or protection. These can be mixed and matched with variants to really open up the system and add a lot of different armors eventually. Now let's look at the different classes. Armor Class 1. RMC fatigues. These are just standard fatigues usually worn by the crew on board. They offer no protection and limited space for accessories. Armor Class 2. Soft armor. These Class 2 armors are soft and more designed to stop shrapnel from explosions. They will not stop a bullet fired from short distances. Armor Class 3. Small arms protective plating. Testing for these includes ballistics from SMG caliber weapons over medium to long distances. Those calibers can reliably be stopped as long as the armor is still in good condition. The Marine Infantry body armor is a Class 3 variant and the standard worn by all basic Marine detachments. It's light but durable and easy to maintain. Armor Class 4. Improved small arms protective plating. This class of armor is a step up, rated for stopping assault rifle caliber weapons with a maximum penetration rate of 10% at medium range. Another Marine variant of this class, the Tactical Armored Plate Suit, is standard issue for all fighting TCR Marines. Very good against small arms and explosives without really hindering movement, and it's fairly difficult to come across in the Wayback System. Armor Class 5. Enhanced small arms protective plating. Class 5 and higher body armor armor is reserved for specialized units that can afford to sacrifice speed, agility, and spatial awareness in exchange for superior protection. This class provides reliable defense against the majority of handheld caliber munitions. Armor Class 6, Extreme Small Arms Protective Plating. This class significantly restricts mobility, maneuverability, and field of vision. However, it's almost like wearing mechanized walker armor, capable of deflecting large caliber rounds and most low power energy weapons. The Marine variant of this, the Navy Breaching Armor Suit, was developed for boarding commandos and offers extreme protection. Its plating will stop almost all kinetic projectiles, even over short distances. Movement and perception are heavily hindered though. I think this particular variant looks the coolest. That wraps up this month's MENACE Dev Diary recap. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part was, and if you missed the previous news updates, you can see them all just by clicking through to the video that's on screen now.